So I want to review from Algebra 1 what function notation is and how we evaluate functions. And I figured the best way to do this is to show you what happens in Delta Math. So in Delta Math, this is evaluating functions. What you're going to notice, and I'm going to try to kind of mark this up a little bit, is this is the name of your function, f of x, and we have an equation that it represents, negative 3x minus 4. And then this right here, when it says what is f of negative 5, that is the number that we are plugging in for x. So when you're asked to work with function notation, the f is basically the name of the function, the x is your independent variable, it's the one you're plugging in. Your value here in parentheses is your x value. So what this is really saying is x is negative 5. And you're taking that number and you're putting it into your function where you see an x. So if you have a calculator handy, you can go through and do this on a calculator. Let's see if I can get my calculator to pop up for me. That is the nice thing about having a calculator close. You can save yourself a lot of time here. Make this smaller. Okay, so if I want to do this on my calculator, I'm going to move this over a little bit. I'm going to do negative 3 times negative 5, and then minus 4, and get my answer. And then I'm going to come in here to type in my answer is 11. I don't think I'm going to get my keyboard to pop up. That's okay. I get an answer of 11. That's what I would submit, and that's how I would evaluate that function. Same thing, this one, you have the negative 3. That is your x value you're going to plug in. So just kind of show you like different variations. You can even look at their solution. Their solution shows you that you're going to take that negative 3 and plug it in where you have an x. So I want to show you that. The next thing I wanted to show you is how we look at a graph with these. So let's say we have something like this one. So when we're looking at a graph, get rid of that. This one is looking at a graph. It wants to know what the value of x is when f of x equals negative 2. So this negative 2 right here, that's the y value. So when you have it written like that, that is your y value. So you're going to go to negative 2 on the y, and you want to find the point that has the negative 2 on the y. So here it is. And you want to write down what the x value is at negative 2. So the x value at negative 2 would be right here. It'd be negative 4. So that's how we determine on a graph. Let me show you a couple more here. You're going to have ones like this. This says, what is f of negative 6? So negative 6, let me get my graph to pop up here. This, because it's in parentheses, that is your x value. So you're going to go on your graph. You're going to go over to your x value of negative 6. So here's your x value of negative 6. This is the point you're looking for. So your answer is going to be your y value. So keep in mind, when you have it written like this is your x value. When you have it written like this, equal to a number, that number is your y value. So this is just practicing with a graph, figuring out if I give you the x value, you find the y value, or if I give you the y value, you find the x value. All of these things you would have done before in Algebra 1, but I just want to make sure that the notation is comfortable for you. You will also see ones like this, where it'll ask you to evaluate from a graph. So if you look at something like this, it wants to know f of negative 2. That is an x value because it's in parentheses. So it wants the y answer. So again, on my picture, I'm going to go to negative 2 on the x-axis. So here's negative 2 on the x-axis right here. And I'm going to go up and see, well, here's the point when x is negative 2. Your answer is what y is. So it looks like when x is negative 2, y is up 3. So y would be 3. So my answer for this is 3. So depending on how it's written, you can evaluate it by plugging it in your calculator. You can evaluate by looking at points on a graph, and you can evaluate by looking at a full graph. The idea, again, when you have it in this notation, this number in parentheses is always your x value. This number that it is equal is always your y value. So I could give you the x and ask you to find the y that goes with it, or I could give you the y and ask you to find the x that goes with it. So hopefully that helps with just some basic understanding of function notation.